Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Out and About in the UK. Well, the events and commemorations continue here in Britain to mark the centenary of the 1916 Easter Rising. And to coincide with that, we met up with actress Sharon Sexton, who has recently written a brand new play, A Fit Wife for a Revolutionary, which tells the tale of Easter week 1916 through the eyes of Mrs. Kathleen Clark. But first, to come along here to Luton for the Poets' Rebellion, which is an event organised by the Luton Irish Forum, which features a series of music and talks about the week that changed the course of Irish history.
Don't step outside, you all have to hide. When the uprising begins, 1,000 down the green to fight.
Now lads, we're here at the Hat Factory in Luton Town. What's happening here today?
We've got Ireland 1916, Luton 2016, and it's our take on the centenary of the Easter Rising 1916.
We've tried to pull together some work from local artists to exhibit around the place. We've got a couple of the clubs from the Luton Irish Forum involved as well, like the art club and the calligraphy classes and things like that. So we've all sort of pulled together to generate an exhibition of work to go alongside the work that we've brought along from Ireland.
We've got coins that were in circulation in Dublin before the Rising and before, and we've got obviously Irish money that was changed after when we become a republic. We've got cooking utensils, we've got a pot and an oven and a teapot and a last, which are the kind of things that was in every household, and how they cooked and how they survived, not in Dublin but down the country as well. Some of them have come from County Monaghan, some have come from the west of Ireland, and so we thought that there's some medals, there's actually some Irish Republican medals as well that come from donated to us. There's a James Connolly signature, an authentic signature of James Connolly. We've got the book there as well and some various other bits and pieces, and we put we filled the pot up with some potatoes and some proper baked bread this morning. Behind you we've got the calligraphy class. They've done the banner for us, and that they are people who work with us on the Irish Forum, and they train our people. This is a local artist who's presented us with the Patriots and presented that Padraig Pearse, James Connolly, and the captions of all the counties of Ireland.
It started at the beginning of the year, really, the preparations for the exhibition. Obviously, a lot of the work was done from the Lutonia side of it, so that sort of sowed the seed, really, and from there they've been sort of in talks and holding the hand of the Luton Irish Forum to get the project together, basically. So it's been a really good sort of partnership.
We've had a number of cultural seminars up at the Forum, and what we've discovered is there's lots of people have various views on Ireland and their homeland and the history, and we thought it was absolutely important and crucial that we actually celebrated and commemorated this event, which 100 years ago was happening in Ireland and indeed in Dublin, where many of us come through on our way to catch the boat.
Back through the glen I rode again, and my heart with grief was sore, for I parted then with valiant men whom I never shall see no more. But to and fro in my dreams I go, and I kneel and I pray for you.
Cerys, you've launched today's events. What does it mean for you to be here?
Well, it's just so fascinating now to be celebrating and remembering this momentous event in Irish history here in Luton, which is a town just seeing sort of waves of people come and make it their home, including the Irish. The Welsh also have history here, and nowadays Polish as well as the Asian community, which have made their home in Luton.
And you have a great love of Irish heritage and Irish history.
Well, I grew up in South Wales and in Pembrokeshire, with 50 miles away from the coast of Ireland. We can see Ireland on a clear day. But it's not that that's fascinated me, but really as a child I was given a book called the Soodlums Irish Songbook, and through it just fell in love with the history of Ireland as well as its repertoire. It's the best, I honestly, hand on heart, think it's the best repertoire in the world, and recognised it in people like Bob Dylan's writing and so forth. So it's, I don't know, I feel very at home in Ireland. We go there a lot and I love singing the songs. I love its poets, Seamus Heaney, W.B. Yeats is one of my favourites. And you know, over the last few years as well, I've become very friendly with many Irish people, including the ambassador here of Ireland in London.
And tell us about how you have become so passionate about the centenary of the 1916 Rising. I believe it's through a meeting with the ambassador that you got involved.
Yes, I was involved with the Bloomsday celebrations in the embassy. I think it's the story itself, that moment in history, is a David and Goliath story. It's a story where people like you, people like me, stood up to an empire and said it was the right time. And they were poets, artists, teachers, and they said, no, we can do this, we can try and change the world, we can make a difference. And they did. When everyone, their friends, their families were kind of like, no, we're not sure. They did, they made a difference, and we're here today celebrating Ireland as we know it because of them.
Ambassador, welcome to Luton. Another great event here.
It certainly is a big crowd here. The Irish in Luton are doing us proud, arranging this event to commemorate the Easter Rising. It's a whole afternoon of events, and it's a full house inside. I'm really very impressed, and it's great that our community in Britain is rising to the occasion and putting on a whole range of things all over the country to mark the fact that it marks 100 years since the Easter Rising, and of course to look at the achievements of Ireland over that century. And we have traditional music playing in the background, and one very good example of how Irish culture has travelled the world, including here to Britain.
And it must be a great thrill to be in Britain right now and being the ambassador at a time when there's so many amazing events happening.
It is, and I was in Dublin at the Reflecting the Rising event on Easter Monday. It was a wonderful event with a huge number of people taking to the streets, actually eager for knowledge about what happened 100 years ago. And the same is true here in Britain, I find. People really are quite curious. Whether they're Irish or not, they want to know more about this event because they recognise its significance for Ireland, and they want to know what made that period tick and why it was that those events took place and the impact they had on Ireland and on our links with Britain over the past century.
For your lack of kind, then she laid her hand on me, and this she did say, oh, it will not be long, love, till our wedding day.
It's such an interesting song because it's written in the mixolydian mode, and it's actually got some very ancient and Eastern influences in it, and it means a lot to me because it's a traditional Irish song, and recently I've been discovering my Irish roots.
So your background, one side of your family is Polish and the other side is Irish, a great mix.
Yeah, well, my name is Carr, so I think that's a giveaway. And in the last 5 years, I've been discovering my Polish roots. And it all started by me writing a song about an infamous escape from Auschwitz in the commander's car, and I wrote a song about it. And from that song, I met the veteran. And from there, I've just been on a big trajectory to discover and write 2 albums about the rebels and the freedom fighters of Second World War experience in Poland.
Luton Town here has a great, vibrant Irish population, and the Luton Irish Forum does some great work. Tell us about the forum.
Well, we provide a number of welfare and cultural activities and social activities. We've a very brilliant welfare service that is working with currently 400 welfare users, helping them with their housing situations, helping them to get more money and helping them to know their welfare rights. We provide, we organise the annual St Patrick's Festival, weekly clubs, and then special interest groups like calligraphy, art and craft, Irish language, and we also work with a lot of outside agencies to provide a bigger offer then for the community, like yoga, 50 plus employment support.
You're part of the calligraphy group at the Luton Irish Forum. Tell us about the work behind us.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you very much to the Luton Irish Forum for allowing us the premises to actually bring a group of people together to learn the art of calligraphy. When we heard about this event, I thought to myself, what a lovely way to repay the kindness of the forum, to actually get stuck in and do something really nice for the exhibition.
My work in the Luton Irish Forum is to actually get people involved with the project. We're taking the project on right through to the end of the year. We're generating a pool of memorabilia that we're going to sort of like trying to borrow off of people so that we can put in this exhibition. We've got an amount of that here, and we're hoping that at the end of the year we'll have a fantastic show of memorabilia from that period of Ireland's history to exhibit at the Wardown Museum.
And if there's anyone watching tonight that wants to get involved with the forum and find out more, is there a website?
There is indeed. It's www.lutonirishforum.org.
Well, what a fantastic afternoon we've had here in Luton, and all thanks there to the Luton Irish Forum. We're going to take a break right now, but do come back to us for the second half of the show. You're very welcome back to the show. Well, award-winning West End actress Sharon Sexton has recently written a brand new play which tells the story of Mrs. Kathleen Clarke, who played such a pivotal role in the 1916 Easter Rising. We went along to the London Irish Centre for the premiere.
I thought you'd drown out the noise, but you're useless. It may as well be happening in here. They've been bombing them out of it all day. A ship shelled Liberty Hall this morning. Shelled! I didn't know who or what the noise was until Mr. O'Kelly came to tell me. He says there's not much left of it. And there's more to come. Mr. O'Callaghan arrived here first thing this morning to say he overheard a message on the telephone wire where he works. They're planning on sending an airship to drop incendiary bombs on GPO headquarters tonight.
The play is called A Fit Wife for a Revolutionary, and it tells the story of Kathleen Clarke throughout the Easter week of 1916. She was the wife of the first signatory, Thomas Clarke, and she was also the president of the Central Branch of Cumann na mBan. So she was quite involved in the run-up to the Rising, but for the week of the Rising she was actually asked to stay in her house with all of the documents and the monies and the finances for the IRB in case anything happened to them. They kind of knew that they wouldn't be coming back from it, so for that reason she wasn't out and part of the fighting. So she was alone for the whole week. So the play tells the story of her week by herself from Good Friday right through to the end of the Rising. And yeah, it was quite an intense week for her.
Mrs. Sweeney went walking by again 30 minutes later. A group of absolute madmen have taken over the GPO, Mrs. Clarke. They've stood outside on Sackville Street reading out a notice declaring that we're at war. So, you see, they must have read it out.
I really wanted to do something on the Rising, and I particularly wanted to do something on the women, because I know there was a lot of people saying that, you know, their roles were overlooked and they did a lot more than has been documented. So I started looking into it, and I read different books and did a lot of research, and Kathleen's name kept coming up again and again and again. And there was a Kathleen Clarke who lost her husband, then there was Kathleen Clarke who lost her brother in the fighting, and then I read about this other Kathleen Clarke, and I went, is this the same person? So her story was fascinating, and I got a copy of her memoirs, which was edited by her grandniece Helen Litton. Read it, and it's her whole life, but the week of Easter was just tremendous, so I just thought it was something that really needed to be dramatised. So much in it, in her story.
In the morning, we would be the first to rise, and we'd ramble over to Lookout Cliff to see the sun come up over the ocean. Well, that was the excuse we gave anyway. Some mornings it'd be raining, and there wouldn't be a whole lot to see. But it would still be beautiful. We'd slip down the stairs in our stockings to avoid waking any of my sisters, and on the mornings we did, they'd come with us. You kind of do get the female perspective on things as well, because she's losing her husband, but also because her voice, even in the memoirs, she's so like formidable, and she's so strong, and she's just such an inspiration. Like the things that she went through and how she mentally dealt with everything was, to me, was just really inspiring. So I just wanted to actually, the challenge of playing her as well really appealed to me, and I went, I'm going to write something that I want to play. It has to be somebody I admire. So when you see what she went through and her mental strength and how she coped with everything, I just thought that was, like I say, really inspiring. Oh, he'd always be very polite, entertaining their civil conversation, while I'd be seething in the background, disgusted. I longed to have that time alone with him. I loved listening to him talk and seeing the light flash in his eyes as he spoke about his love for Ireland. And he listened too, to me, challenged me, still does. What I wouldn't give to have that time alone with him again. Why is it so difficult to be alone? Her memoirs, she wrote them specifically, I think, to give an account of what happened. I think it was somebody advised her that because she was so close to it all and she had such an insight into everything, that it would be great if she could put them down purely for a factual account. So her memoirs are very fact-based. There's no emotion in them at all, and it's not about her experience of the week. It's about what happened according to her memory. So for me, I've had to kind of take what happened and imagine how she must have felt, because she didn't really share that. She didn't get emotional, or she wasn't really attached to it when she wrote it. So that's been the biggest challenge, because you don't want to undermine her, or you don't want to take too many assumptions or guess, but you have to try and create a character people care about. So that's been the most difficult thing.
We could have been happy there forever. The land of opportunity, a clean slate, a fresh start for you, together all the time. But you became unsettled. Night after night, you would somehow manage to turn our conversation to Ireland. You became desperate to get back here, to do something, ready to sacrifice everything. I was not.
This has been the opening week here now, and so far the reaction is really positive. So the plan is we really want to try and take this now and go to Glasgow, Manchester, Liverpool, and then hopefully to Limerick and Dublin as well, if not more places throughout the UK. Like I said, there's so many Irish communities and people around here who'd be interested in it, so hopefully.
Some people can get a thrill, knitting sweaters and sitting still. That's living for some people.
I actually have another one-woman show which I do, which is Somewhere Under the Rainbow, which is the Liza Minnelli story written by Cillian O'Donoghue, and that is our company Biscuits for Breakfast to do that as well. And I've been doing that for the last couple of years, so that's fine. That was a massive challenge to do for the first time, because it's very scary when you realise you're about to go on stage and you can't get off for an hour and it's just you, and then you actually always have that moment of, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? I want to run away. But that has songs in it, and it's a musical. So for me, because I sing, it's really like you get through the script and then the song is really relaxing for me as a performer. I really enjoy that. Whereas this is just dialogue. I think it's really been a different kind of challenge to keep an audience with you. It's hard to listen to anybody talk for an hour, you know, to make her interesting. So that's been quite a challenge.
All the odds are they're in my favour. Something's bound to begin.
I'm from Kildare, from Naas, and moved over 3 years ago with the original cast of The Commitments in the West End. So that's what brought us over here, which was fantastic, because I came over with a whole group of Irish people. So my first year in London was like, I didn't really feel like I was away from home. It was that palace. The palace was where The Commitments ran there for 2 years, and it was like a little Irish plantation. It really was, which was super. But since then, yeah, we've stayed, and we're trying to get our company Biscuits for Breakfast off the ground here. We've done another couple of things, and I'm working in the West End still, doing Billy Elliot at the moment. So I've been really lucky to be able to do that, and that's kind of allowed us the opportunity to do our own work as well. London is hard, and it's even just getting around London, like commuting and getting your foot in the door. But if you keep chipping away at it, there, like I say, there is massive support networks here, and there's a lot of Irish people over here, and I think that becomes really important when you move away from Ireland. Your Irishness starts to even matter more, you know. So there definitely is that here to tap into, but yeah, and save your money because it's expensive here, but it's totally worth it. It's brilliant.
How big an input do Irish people have here in the television and the acting world here in London?
Actually, quite a lot. It's funny, and over the last couple of years since we've been here as well, there's been like a little bit of a domination. I mean, there's 2, I think, MacDonagh plays that have been running at the same time last year. Then you had Once the musical, which you had the Commitments, the musical at the same time. There's stuff going into the National from home, and there's so many Irish artists over here just constantly creating work. It's lovely, and there's such a massive Irish community over here, which I had never actually even known before until we really started working on this play and found the Luton Irish Centre, who've been fantastic as well. There's so many Irish people over here, it's great. I love like performing, and that's my first love. But when you do a job, which I'm very grateful to have them, don't get me wrong, but when you do a job and you're doing the same show, 8 shows a week for a year, it becomes very much a job. So for me, being able to create work is it's what I love doing. So for us to be able to continue to create stuff with Biscuits for Breakfast, I suppose it's a means to an end. You know, I'll get the buzz of performing every night, but that funds what we do and gives us, you know, the opportunity to actually make work and put stuff on. We just finished filming a pilot for Quinn and O'Grady for the RT Storyland project. Myself and Rena O'Connor, who's another Irish actress I met over here through the Commitments, we have a little comedy sketch duo. We make videos and somebody stumbled across them online, so it's like one of those Hollywood stories where we were just perfect for the parts and the roles, so it was great crack. We went home and we shot that for a week, so fingers crossed there might be a series with that later in the year.
I am out of my mind, I am out of control, full of feelings I can't define.
It's a sin with no name.
I can identify.
Well, we're on Twitter, and we have a Twitter page for each show that we do. So we have the Summer Under the Rainbow page, and we have the Kathleen Clark page, and we're doing another play coming up as well called The Game, which is about a trio, the Bomb Sniffing Dog, which is a puppet show. We won for that, but basically the Facebook is the Biscuits for Breakfast Theatre Company. It's a community page on Facebook, so everything is on there, all of our dates and all the links and all of the news about the upcoming productions. So that's the best place to find us.
Well, many thanks there to Sharon for inviting us along to the premiere of her brand new play. If you'd like to contact the show, send an email to ian@irishtv.ie, and you can also check us out on Facebook and on Twitter. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have right now, but do come back to us next week when we'll be out and about in the UK.